outcomes and just defending it blindly.
Yeah, you have been blindly defending the outcome of Bowser versus Eggman. That is very true. So,
Yes, I have been nothing but obedient towards what they have said. I've never disagreed with anything that Deadfellow's ever said ever.
mm-hmm. That's the intro to the video. So this is the prediction for Fall Guys versus Among Us. I want to get one thing out of the way first because I think it's quite funny. People have pointed out every single prediction this year has been wrong. Now,
And well, the streak is breaking.
There's a bit more nuance to that. Shut up, because Bardock Comedy Man, yeah, we just got that one wrong because Death Battle used like an older take on the Sun Disc that had long since gone out of favor. So no one expected that. Joker Jono, I flipped a coin. There was a 50-50 chance on that one.
Well, realistically, I say you put an asterisk next to it anyway, because we had a whole podcast talking about how Joker wins in actuality. Right?
Yeah, like we did mention, like I was pretty certain Joker was gonna win, but I flipped a coin, came up Giorno, well came up heads, but came up Giorno, and I said him, which is it was better for me because that's what I promised way back in the day. So I guess I guess that just worked out. And Bowser Eggman, I did say, I'm pretty sure I said in the prediction that I thought Bowser was going to win. Even you said that. So,
no, at no point did I think Eggman was winning the episode. I make it clear,
yeah,
that I was pretty sure Bowser was winning the episode regardless. I was just saying why Eggman should win, and my thoughts on that in actuality, I have lied to you, remain the same. I still think Eggman should have won, but
so
you know what? That's neither here nor there.
So, saying that all the three predictions were wrong is interesting way to put it. But as much as I want to argue Amogus should win, just to keep that streak going.
All right. So this is the part where we rip off the Band-Aid. This is going to be a short one.
Yeah, this is not going to be a long one. I guess to make it longer, we could go about this like exclusively their feats in game, then like crossover stuff.
Yeah, no, I think that was the structure we were gonna go with.
So,
so I guess first we can talk about the abilities.
Yeah.
Because I guess that's the most interesting part, and then people are gonna click off.
That's the part where like I am not as well versed. I've not played either game. I know that the Amogus it can like deactivate certain abilities of others, like other like classes. It has the transformation stuff. It's got all these sorts of weapons, knives, guns. It can shapeshift. It can turn invisible, I believe. Shit like that.
Okay. All right. So I'll go this one by one.
Also, if you hear me eating, I have like no time to ever eat because I'm always working on videos for you people. So please have some goddamn patience. If let me. It's got one mantou. You don't know what that is. It's a soft Chinese bun. I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna stay away from the mic while he yaps because I trust him to take a while. So I'm gonna hope you guys don't hear it. And if you do, then just deal with it.
Adapt. You can put up with my mic. You can put up with his. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the crewmate abilities because it looks like a group battle. So I'm going to assume it's 2 crewmates, 2 imposters, even though the game would end immediately if that was the case. But shut up. So crewmates have engineer, which just lets them vent. Something that imposters can do, just vent from area to area. Beats walking, I suppose. They got scientist, which lets them check the vitals of any crewmate at any time. That lets them know whenever one of them is dead. That probably has a niche use in this question mark. Probably not.
Does it help them locate where they are, or just like how close they are to dying?
Locating where they are, or that's a different role. It's called tracker. They can place a little device on someone and track where they are for a limited amount of time.
I
actually
immediately have to quickly go do something that'll take like 20 seconds. So I'm just gonna let you take over for a bit. Mention some of the less important stuff.
Well, I've been mentioning the less important stuff. The crewmate roles aren't going to do much here.
I'm just letting you know.
Okay, so go do your thing. So this is my channel now, I suppose, for this brief bit of time together. How have you guys been doing? Did you hear that they're upping the Fortnite Battle Pass to 1,000 V-Bucks from 950? I can't believe we're getting inflation. Not that kind. You're
Fun
weird.
fact, everyone,
I
I
mean,
am
like
muted
the
on Discord,
capitalist
so he can't
kind.
hear me, but he will be hearing
It's
this
crazy.
the video, me talking over him
We used to
rudely.
go to war. Now look where we are. Such a fucking waste. Nemesis is gonna look through this video and he's gonna get to this part. He's like,
Bro,
"Fucking son of
stop
a
yapping.
bitch."
Ow.
Can't go 5 seconds without talking about Fortnite. Which I guess is subtle foreshadowing. But
Bro, yapping.
back to the
Bro, not
rules.
even yapping about the right
Yes,
game.
I'm getting to it.
Wrong COVID
We're gonna
era
get to
game.
it. We're gonna get to it.
Sadly, that is true.
Okay.
Whether I like it or not.
Okay, so back to crewmate stuff.
I'm butt eating everyone.
Engineer, scientist, tracker, and then there's one for after they're dead called the guardian angel, which can create an angelic shield around a crewmate that can protect them from getting killed once. It lasts for a short bit of time, and it takes forever to charge back up, and it does not give the ghosts the ability to haunt people anymore, which is basically like they toggle and they can just follow people passively.
What fucking use would that be in this situation?
While it keeps them alive for like a second longer.
They can't do anything as ghosts, so like I imagine they just that counts as a win if they all get turned to ghosts.
Crewmates can't do anything as ghosts except doing their tasks.
What?
No, even when you're dead, you still have to do your tasks. That's a thing in Among Us.
That's stupid.
Basically, everything you do. Uh, well, when you die and then you still have to do your chores, you can look back at that one comment and be like, "Man, I was stupid."
No, I'll still say it's stupid.
All right, you're gonna get condemned.
Yeah, well, that's also stupid.
I don't make the rules, dude.
That's because you're stupid.
Uh, well, okay, now that's just hurtful.
Stupidly hurtful, in fact.
Okay, and then the imposters, which are not like us, and they have a couple of roles. I think only two at this time. One is the shapeshifter, where you can like turn into any other one of the crewmates and just kind of impersonate them. That is the funniest one because you can just transform into someone else, kill someone out in the open, and take the fall. Or you can just use it to gaslight people. And then,
love that.
all right, so I'm gonna give this next one a little bit of build up. Nemesis. You know how Big Ruff the Crime Dog's iconic ability is to stop time, but does not have the action to do anything with that stop time, so it was basically useless?
Don't tell me.
So the Phantom lets you turn invisible, but you can't do anything while you're invisible. You can't kill anyone. You can't even do his normal sabotages or whatnot while you're invisible.
So it's adjacent to being completely useless. In this context, in this context, in fact, I would say that it's pretty much entirely useless.
Correct. It's useless in the actual Among Us. So,
oh, good.
If anything, it actually brings attention to yourself because the animation to turn invisible is putting yourself in a puff of smoke, and the puff of smoke goes through the walls. So that's wonderful.
You're a really shithouse imposter.
Okay, and then
what a fucking gameplay mechanic.
just normal. And then normal imposter abilities, obviously venting. If there's a ventilation shaft, they can just hop in there and travel around that way. And then there's the sabotages, which can be like closing doors on people. Depending on which location it is, the doors are unlocked through different methods.
Awesome.
They can take out the electricity in a place, which basically kills all the lights, make a building go completely down. But it doesn't take down like all of the electrical appliances. I guess because there's emergency backups and spaceships and stuff. Destroying the oxygen tanks. If the passwords aren't put in time, imposters win because everyone just suffocates. Reactor
I do like
meltdown, same kind
suffocation.
of situation.
Don't read into that.
You're a fucking freak.
That is not how I meant it. I am not Rena. What, you thought Rena
You
wouldn't catch a
deserve to
stray?
not.
I mean, that you really think that wasn't gonna happen?
You could have just said Hyperstar, man.
Yeah, but like I trust Rena to know that it's a joke more than Hyper. And then again, I do trust Hyper to understand it's a joke too. So
Yeah, let's just keep slandering him now.
yeah, Hyper more like Hyperversal.
So anyway,
That one was maybe too
reactor
personal.
melt reactor meltdown is another timed one where people don't attend to it in time. The reactor, in fact, melts down and a Chernobyl happens. And and then there's probably the most effective one for this matchup in particular, taking down communications, like radio transmissions, just fucking with the Wi-Fi signals, making it so that there is no way to contact you or where you are
Now hold on,
until that is
I can
repaired.
do that, but I don't call that a superpower.
All right, but they don't stab the router. They use their evil mind powers to fuck with the radio transmissions.
I don't stab the router either.
Sure you don't.
Why would I stab it? I couldn't turn it back on if I stabbed it.
Well, I was talking about sabotage, okay? It's an intentional act of vandalism to cause disarray in the public consciousness.
Yeah, well, there's no public consciousness here. This is the verse
Are
community.
you
There's barely a private consciousness.
So anyway, that's like all the main abilities. In terms of the arsenals and stuff, you got the crewmates have their tasks.
Does
Like
that really
it's
count?
there's no, I'm leaning somewhere to this.
Okay.
You got the basic ones that do not matter at all, like rearranging wires and stuff. But then there's this one attack that handles weapons and weaponry.
Oh, okay.
Space lasers that are, yeah, space lasers that are used to shoot meteors and completely pulverize them
Wow.
to clear debris. Yeah, yeah, it helps clear debris of
And
aircrafts
do they
or
scale
making
to
sure they
this?
don't fall into the base. Uh, no one uses this weaponry on other crewmates.
So, so you said that it was like it was like you were going somewhere with it, and where you didn't tell me where you were going was a dead fucking end.
You're gonna run into this a lot. But like they can still use this weaponry. This is still access to a space laser, which I will. You're going to find out. Funnily enough, is
You
um,
cut out there. Funnily
you're
enough.
going to find out. Yeah, no, you're going to find out that a lot of things just do not matter as far as Among Us goes.
Why isn't Among Us better designed for the Verse community? Did they never consider this possibility?
Just like Interslop, fuck, we only thought about them killing each other.
Damn, we never thought about what would happen if we got on Death Battle.
Everyone else does. Like they hand you this document, and like inside the terms of agreements, it says you have the possibility of being inside a death battle, so you got to prepare for it.
Yeah,
Like
not on Death Battle, inside a Death Battle. Very specifically worded that way.
yes, like they one day you're going to get mailed something, and it's a brain chip, and you're going to have to insert it, or you die in real life, and then you get thrown into the show.
That's a very
That's how they
elaborate
do
way
it.
It's a very elaborate way to put that.
The process is very fucked up. No one's been talking about it. And then the Fall Guy abilities. Physically, they run around, they run forward, they grab things, they can push and pull, and so anyway,
Yeah,
they
that's
also
about
have a
right.
bit of an arsenal. Oh,
Now, I remember I once said that they didn't have much of an arsenal, and Larold Winwood attacked me in the comments, very violently.
well, with a knife,
Yeah,
which is weird because that's like an Among Us thing, not a Fall Guys thing.
well, you know, the Amogus
So
is like they stand up for their friends in the Fall Guys community.
oh, we're about to see how well that aids them here. So
To be honest, them standing up for the
this
Fall
is
Guys emotionally is probably the best chance they have at winning.
yeah. I feel like if we have not made this clear, this is a Fall Guys sweep, but we'll get there. So they do have a bit of an arsenal. They got bombs that push you around. They're like air bombs, I
Bombs?
guess. They got mechanical rhinos, and then you got all those disappearing platforms and stuff, and a whole bunch of traps. It's it's like Wipeout. So like any trap that you would imagine or obstacle that you would imagine to Wipeout is also in this. I'm pretty sure Nemesis has no idea what Wipeout
I
is.
know what Wipeout
Think of
is.
Okay.
What the fuck do you
See, like,
mean?
well, I have to ask this is the same guy who so of Sponge. This is the same guy that has not seen a single episode of SpongeBob. I have to make sure.
You didn't. You no. You didn't make sure that. You just immediately assumed.
Well, and now I know. Okay. Okay. Um. So anything that you would associate with Wipeout, Takeshi's Castle, all of that shit, that is what Fall Guys is dealing with. And if you're wondering why I'm including that, because there is a recent update that gives them the ability to build their own courses, and this can be done in seconds, as shown off in the trailers. So, like, if the skeld goes down and they have to eject themselves to survive, the Fall Guys can just build another course and just exist there.
So that they just build their own courses, and it's just something they can just drop out of nowhere with no build up.
It's fucking Fortnite players and build when they get hit by a stray bullet. Also foreshadowing.
God damn it. So they can just put these like courses up in seconds, I guess.
Yes.
That's rather rude.
With that, the arsenals and abilities are rather kind of limited. So now we can talk about stat stuff. So let's start with Among Us and not include any crossover stuff.
Well, Biff, don't
Just
leave the
focus on
video.
what-
I know we're going to stat stuff, but please don't leave the video, mate.
Trust me, we're gonna start with the interesting stuff and then we ruin it with crossover stuff.
I guess
Okay.
we'll start
We have a
small,
method.
which of course in this context means we start with Fall Guys.
No, we start with Among Us
What?
still.
Oh yeah.
We're getting it. Yeah. So, like I said,
I
Among
wanted
Us
to
has
give them
those
hope.
weapon tests
I was trying to
that-
give them hope, you know. I was gonna be like, so all the Fall Guys have is they knock around like this big golden egg, and then pretend like that was it. But I guess no.
No,
Is the golden egg
No, we're
actually
not
more
doing that.
impressive than the Among Us feat? Which I think like the big one that they scale to is like the laser that the Impostor does or something like that. Like what
We
is
do have
actually
a
more
couple
impressive
other
between the laser
feats.
and the golden egg? Because I've not seen the golden egg thing. I don't even know if it's an egg or a ball or a fucking Jabberwocky. I don't know. People say
gold
golden
is a
egg.
very soft.
So, well, no,
gold is a fairly soft metal.
yeah, but it's heavy,
so-
so kicking it around,
Especially with the skeleton that Fall Guys have. Yeah, I guess I can pull up this image now. Fall Guys have a very fucked up skeleton.
You want to talk about fucked up skeletons when the Amogus is right there?
Yes, I do. I'm
Neither
pulling
of
this up
these.
now. You're
You know,
gonna.
I'm hoping they have a scene where they both get electrocuted and you see both of their fucked up skeletons.
But yeah, we're going to have the Among Us skeleton. I mean, the fucking Fall Guy skeleton on the now. This thing is not natural. Um, not in the slightest.
That is a
I love
Koopa.
how when I look it up, I love how when I look it up on Google Images, one of the top results is top 10 scary Fall Guys creatures.
Huh?
I, bro, the Fall Guys creepypastas, they go so hard. One time I was playing Fall Guys and then my guy found get back up. The police were called.
I think the most interesting part about the Fall Guy skeleton is that the legs would not work. Because it has digitigrade legs. And it's not able to move any of them to actually move the foot part.
Ignoring the laws of physics is not going to be a one-off thing.
Anyway, yeah, so Among Us is the big laser, right? Like the laser that the imposter shoots. That's its feat.
Yeah. What?
It's like what, small building?
It also has a couple other things. So in the trailer for the Fungal, their airship crashes into an island, and they survive. All of them survive the airship crash, which is fairly impressive. I would say, because it was a head-on collision right into the island.
Okay, but like they
And
were
I don't
in
even
the
think any
ship.
of them had any like.
I would say that the ship gets the feat there.
I mean, it's a ship that's part of their arsenal, so.
I mean, I guess if you want to look at it in that direction, sure.
You know, if I end up doing that, I have to tell you that the ship is completely decimated.
Fucking
So.
ace, mate. Fucking ace. What a fucking story,
this
Mark.
is the well, welcome to this pattern.
Okay, so
loop.
is this where we go to Fall Guys?
Yes.
And we bring up that
so,
in the. Do I just like bring it up like the thing that like the thing?
I'm gonna give it a little bit
Right.
of build up. So Fall Guys, like much like Fortnite, has this little emote thing, and exclusive to Fall Guys are victory emotes, where if you win the entire thing, your Fall Guy can do a funny, quirky little thing. And now you can say the thing.
Yeah, one of those things is called the Constellation Celebration. That's the celebration. That's what it's called, the Constellation one. They make a constellation of the crown.
Yep,
it just shows up in space. And like, some of you might be thinking, oh, that's not a feat. They're not going to use that. Maybe two of you are thinking, well, they didn't use it for the Macho Man. Why would they use it for the Fall Guy? And I would say that literally the last episode we got had them use that exact kind of feat for Yoshi.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So literally, like, nothing said about the Amogus matters. I was trying to sugarcoat it a bit earlier, but Gumball doesn't want to, and you know what? I'll respect his wishes.
Yeah.
There ain't shit that the imposter can do to that level of oomph.
And now you were talking about lasers earlier. So I'm going to send you these two screenshots, and we're going to put it up on screen. These are developers at Mediatronic back in 2021. Well, one of them's a developer and one's a social media manager, but seeing how this is like multiple accounts claiming the same thing, I am reliable to take their word. And by the way, do not pester people who work on things to share versus stuff. That is not cool. If they end up sharing versus stuff of their own volition, that's fine. Do not try to coax it out of them, you fucking dickheads. I can't believe that we're still in this phase where people actively seek out people behind projects to ask versus pilled questions.
You say
If
in this
it's
phase,
I
the Godzilla power scaling community has been doing this shit for years, and nobody batted an eye, because I don't know why not.
well, more what's what's moral integrity, huh?
Hmm.
Um, so there was a Q&A for Fall Guys a while ago, and there were some roundabout questions which I guess could have been perceived as power scaling, but I don't think that was the main intent. So we're gonna read through them. There are two screenshots that are in particular and funny here. Um, One, why does slime kill the Fall Guy? Does it have any kind of substances that are deadly to the beans? The answer is the Fall Guys can't die, but they don't like to run when they're sticky. So,
They can't what now? Would you like to repeat that, Gumball?
you see it that way. The way I see it, that means that they can just respond with their own position and just choose not to because it's bad.
You know, maybe it's just in the spirit
But
of fair competition. You know? They took the L, and they're like, oh, fair enough, you know, I'll take that one. That's on me,
I mean,
guys.
like their whole world is a game show. They can't cheat. They got a family at home.
Exactly. You know, the verse community might not have moral integrity, but they do.
Yeah, exactly.
Be like your
But
heroes.
yeah, those
Be
first
like
four
the Fall
words.
Guys.
So you're thinking to yourself, those first four words, Fall Guys can't die. Um, that sounds offlandish. That sounds like an NLF situation. That's kind of fucking stupid. Um, so here's the second screenshot. Another question asking, do Fall Guys ever die? And the question from the social media manager is, I mean, the answer from the social media manager is, I suppose the real question is, what could theoretically kill them? They clearly don't drown when they fall into slime, nor sustain any injuries from falling from large heights like the hexagon. And my favorite part here, lasers bounce off them, and they get up after being punched by a puncher or flipped by a flipper, so no. So that is two accounts of people attached to the Fall Guys franchise just saying we don't know if they can die, and quite frankly that scares us.
And now, to be clear,
And
taking that to mean that literally nothing in fiction could kill them is definitely a no limits fallacy. But in the context of this, where they already have the power advantage, I mean,
and not and not only the power advantage, but the one weapon that people thought that Among Us would have, the lasers, that would just bounce off them.
yeah.
And we do have footage of that. There is one of the season trailers, I forget which one, where a laser is fired at a Fall Guy, and they don't even react. The laser flies off them. Then they get hit something with actual mass, and that pushes them.
Good answer.
So, ironically enough, if the laser in Among Us is fake, that actually might be more effective than less, because
So,
that would mean it has mass, and therefore would not bounce off the Fall Guy.
the end of the story pretty much is, Fall Guys are stronger. Speed doesn't really matter, because the Amogus can't do anything. And whatever, like, abilities the Amogus might have that the Fall Guys don't, it won't do shit. It's just not strong enough. It'll do nothing to them.
The best you can give the Among Us guys is that they could hack into the Fall Guys tech to disable their ability to build levels or courses, but that doesn't really take away any real problems that Among Us is going to have to face, and that in itself is probably a no limits fallacy.
Yeah.
Because we don't know if they can just hack any tech that they want. It looks like it has to be specific aspects, and they can't hack everything at once. Sabotages only work one at a time. They have to make their choice. And
to compound it further, going like beyond, like that's just their games. That's just looking at their what you can undeniably use. Going beyond that, a lot of people have found, and understandably so, brought up a lot, the Amogus planet bust, which happens in the collaboration trailer for Vampire Survivor, whatever it is, where the Amogus...
Vampire Survivors 2.
Yeah, the Amogus shoots a laser with its gun, that just like destroys 3 planets. He King Vegeta's the place. Constellation.
Yes. So
Conversation over.
so
It is essentially
nope.
comparing King Vegeta to Perfect Cell.
Um,
And that might still
but
be
as you
downplaying
were
the
about,
constellation thing, because Cell destroys like a solar system.
he claims to destroy his solar
He
system.
claims it. We can't prove it. He is a bit of a sussy baka, which means he also loses to the
Yeah,
Fall
you know,
Guys.
and Metal Sonic, but so which avenue do you want to take? Fortnite or Final Fantasy?
Well, Final Fantasy
We're gonna do
14's
both, but
a little harder to go with because the thing with the Warrior of Light is that he like specifically holds back enough to like make any fight even. So like Final Fantasy 14 has really weird stuff going on with its power scaling. Fortnite also does, but the thing is that you told me there is not scaling, but just an outright feat for the Fall Guy within Fortnite, which I would say
yes,
is about equal to use as the Vampire Survivor Planet Bust. Itself a feat that the Impostor or the crewmate does, I don't know which one. The feat the Amogus does,
roommate.
that while it exists within the crossover, is its own feat. And I would say the same for this, so yeah.
All right, it's time to shatter your worldview among us fans, as if we haven't already. So there is an event in Fortnite called the Big Bang. I think you already know why this is probably a bit problematic. So this is the Big Bang for the end point. I think that's what it's called. The 0 point, my bad. And the 0 point is the epicenter of the Fortnite universe, which in actuality is the center point of the entire fictional omniverse, because pretty much all of fiction is connected to Fortnite in some way, and they're all connected to this giant sea of multiverses and omniverses that Fortnite is the complete center of. The 0 point is like the origin of creation. And that had its big bang, and a Fall Guy bean was in the center of it, got sucked in, the entire thing blew up, and Fall Guys are fine. So, which part do we want to dissect first?
I think it's probably fine not to go too far into like the scaling of like, oh, he scales to Fortnite to scale to DC, because there is something to be said about how the Fortnite authors did not write any of that with the knowledge of what DC and Marvel's cosmology is. Like, they didn't know that. So it's like one of those weird cases where like it's crossover scaling where you have to essentially ignore whatever the intention was, because I feel like the logical intention would be, oh, the DC is like 52 universes, that's the commonly known or commonly held belief, so yeah, more than that. Marvel is like countless, yeah, go with that. As opposed to like, oh, they're this much above Outerversal and blah blah, because then you also get into contradictions with the actual lore of Marvel and DC and how the collective, like, our real world is referenced in those series. And there's it's just not something I think can easily be gone into. But what you can very clearly say, regardless of what the franchises involved say in their own worlds, is that's like, it's like multi-plus. Like, if it's the center of all fiction, then ignoring what Marvel DC say about their cosmologies and like other franchises involved in Fortnite, that's still like the center of infinity. That is a big bang that created infinity. That's the upper echelon that I would be willing to accept, and the minimum I would be willing to accept is it's the big fucking bang. That's a big fuck off boom. I mean, it's not literally an explosion in the technical sense, but like, so Amogus blow up planet, Fall Guy make constellation, angrier Fall Guy, and by angrier I mean stronger, survive Big Bang. Amogus die.
And we're still not done yet because you were talking about all the technicalities with intent and what collaborations would be considered. Um, so Marvel's canon, just blatantly. The likeness of the Marvel characters is strictly from Earth 616, and this was hammered in even more so by the newest Fortnite season from Chapter 5, which was all about Doom taking over the Fortnite Islands, and again, 616 incarnations. Gwenpool's the only character to realize that she's actually in Fortnite, but she says that everyone was taken from the canonical Fortnite timeline. So, I mean, Marvel timeline.
I know. I'm just saying that I'm very certain the authors did not know the extent to the size of the Marvel cosmology. So saying
All right,
saying
if they
that and
did,
saying that
if they did not,
they knew and they were overwriting all the years of canon that established the one above all, made all of Marvel. And they're like officially Marvel are recognizing the one above all is not that guy. He's a fraud, and Fortnite created it. I just find that hard to accept. Going like with that logic, it
I understand. I understand like
it's also
why
very.
you find
It
that
feels
hard to
very
believe.
versus brain rot. Like it feels like very
It-
much. This is only something a versus debater would think, as opposed to, anyone sensible.
well, you are correct on that front, but not just for the versus thing, but it's also because who gives a fuck about Fortnite?
Well, like I would say, Fortnite. From what I've heard, I'd happily say multi plus, which the Amogus fans did not want to hear. After all I said about not pushing Fortnite too far, they definitely don't like me saying that. But I'm saying it anyway, because I think it, and
And
I think therefore
and
I
I am
unfortunately exist and all that.
yeah, philosophy and stuff. I almost bought the book of almost bought the Art of War at a bookstore recently because I saw it was there, but I
You said the
decided against it
you said
because I don't think I'm gonna have a.
you said the Book of. I thought you were about to say the Book of Mormon, and I was about to say, what do you mean? You just bought that at a store. But okay.
No, the Art of War. But I think using at least Marvel at the very least is fine because it has appeared in two canon chapters of Fortnite's lore. It is intertwined with Fortnite's own lore and Marvel's own lore because you have the Fortnite Marvel comics, which are more reinforced and also take place in the 616 universe.
Yeah, but like,
So I think
do
there's
they
a
ever just go out and say that it's Fortnite's above the one above all? Because that is what you'd be implying here. Is Fortnite is above the one
well,
above all?
you know what? I will read those comics and I will let you know what they do. But I
You'd
am
better.
saying that the answer has a chance to be yes. It has a chance to.
If it is yes, then fine. But
And
like that's the issue. Marvel has all these things that reference the real world, that reference who made the multiverse, and this would be going for the sake of making Fortnite strong as possible. We will ignore literally decades of Marvel writing for just what was said here. Like that is what
I mean
the
Marvel
logic
ignores
would be.
I mean I mean Marvel ignores decades of Marvel writing. You were talking about like Cosmo not
Oh
too
yeah,
long ago, right?
Marvel absolutely do, but like that's at least like Marvel. That's not Marvel crossover with something else. Because like I would say by the point you're willing to use this, any Marvel versus DC debate should be by default stats equalized no matter what because they have canonically crossed over more often than Marvel's crossed over with Fortnite. So like by the point where people start to become willing to use that sort of scaling, you get to that point where Marvel DC matchups are all going to be equal stats. It's and like I know that people already kind of argue for that, but that's because the feats are similar, not because literally Superman and Thor have punched each other in the face.
Okay, okay. All of this is a very solid argument. But think about this. Fall Guy being omniversal.
I would argue you could make that claim regardless of what you say about the Marvel scaling because of what Fortnite itself says. Like regardless
Well
of how
then
big Marvel is, you can
I have
already say that.
well then I have done what I have accomplished here.
Yeah, no, like I
This has been a very this has
like
been a very short prediction, as you guys can see. Um,
Like,
because
my no point is saying that
that,
they're like boundless, beyond omnipotent beings because they scale above a thing that is infinitely above the one above all, who is infinitely above infinite dimensions of which each see each other as the lower ones as infinitely fictional. Like, that's the point where I go, that's a bit too far, that's a bit stupid. But the point where it is he literally survived the birth of the Omniverse, well, there's a lot less hoops to jump there. That's just what that is. That's just, end of story, kind of,
I
I'd
saw,
say.
I saw it. I was there. I'm also omniversal. This is how you get to find out.
And you're my stan.
Um,
So that's canon,
yeah,
remember?
this, yeah, yes, it is. No denying it.
Which means all of
The
these
scaling
predictions that
chain
all the predictions that are just us is just a really, really weird case of talking to the wall.
I guess, but like there's a wall, but there's a camera. Usually with our consent. And this means it also means that you beating Bill Cipher that one time is consistent.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
like, we win. The winner is us.
The winner is me because I was rude. I was kind of hoping for the Bean to win here, because as funny as Amogus is unintentionally or not, it definitely has a lot higher chance of being annoying as a meme than anything Fall Guys related.
And Fall Guys kind of need it because you have the Stumble Guys ripoff getting fucking collaborations from Rabbids.
What?
A whole bunch of like actual. Oh yeah, no, there's a Fall Guys ripoff called Stumble Guys, and it's more successful and just got a Switch port. It is actually thriving, and Fall Guys is starting to die out.
Bruh. Oh, Stumble Guys. Oh, I know this.
Yeah,
I know this thing, yeah. I
yeah,
saw
no,
the,
it's a
I
blatant Fall
saw
Guys
the
ripoff
Party
that is
Crashers
just
play it.
doing. Yeah, no, it's doing so well for whatever reason.
Clearly, we need to do
I
Stumble
guess
Guys versus the werewolf from the social deduction game Werewolf.
I guess we do. But so this has been a very roundabout prediction.
Yeah,
There's not much else. There's
that's
not
we've
much
not
else
mentioned
to add
speed,
except a.
but when there's no abilities that matter and the stat gap is this big just in raw power, like game to game, it's like small building. I think the Skeld feat is like not multi-con, like multi-city block versus constellation level, which is like at least star level, and then using the
That's like
crossover
multi-solar
stuff.
system, right?
I think it probably would be because there's a huge gap between stars and constellations. And then using crossovers, it is like planet level times 3 versus minimum universal, maximum omniversal. Or multi plus all reality. Bean survived that, and Among Us did not. Genuinely the
Could
best
you
you could
imagine?
argue is compositing like the Among Us backpack into the Amogus to say that they have equivalent stats. That would probably
But
genuinely be your best argument for the Among Us.
except yeah. I guess you can argue that the Among Us creatures being SCPs might do something, but they're legally distinct. So the answer is probably not.
And also, just being an SCP doesn't mean you scale that high automatically.
Yeah, no, like a lot of the stories are disjointed and not meant to be connected because SCPs, by their very nature, are supposed to be like semi-public domain stories about these cryptids and entities that you make, and it's really fun and
To be
engaging
honest, the thing is, even if you
in that
do
way.
composite ACP stories, which I think the way the verse community generally goes about it is like how strong, like compositing storylines, but in the sense of just because this character fought this character doesn't mean they scale to their feat from a different timeline, but more so they scale to their feats within that like storyline, and then combined with what they scale in the other storylines. Like that's the way they go about it, which is the way that makes sense. But Among Us, I highly doubt, right now as of recording, to be clear, that there is a story where the Among Us goes and shoots SCP-343 in the head and just kills him.
I don't even think Among Us and SCP-682 have interacted.
Yeah, well, SCP-682 is a massive jobber, so, like, who cares if they have or not?
That's gonna be so fun. The Doomsday 682 conversation is gonna be so fun
Look, I love
because
682, and part of why I love 682 is because his entire existence is I'm unkillable, nothing can beat me, but I did just immediately fold. His existence is infinite, but if infinite also just lived and kept going after that.
well, he did live, but he didn't keep going.
Yeah,
So
it's the keep going part
I
that
guess
matters.
yeah. So quick TLDR for people who immediately fast forward to the end of the video. I'm not sure
Yeah, for
if
anyone who
those
fast
stone
forwards
unturned
into the
here.
end of the video, Among Us does win. Fall Guys have no feats. The Amogus is just
Yeah,
way too powerful. It can destroy planets. The Fall Guys can kick around a golden
and
egg, which I believe is like athlete level, like a regular person could kick around a 1,000-ton
it
golden egg
could
probably.
be. You could probably link it to multi-continent.
Yeah, but like it's not gonna matter because like planet level.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the
Do not
TLDR.
watch the rest.
Yeah, don't go
Do not
back to
watch the rest
rewatch.
of the video. We were just talking about Bowser versus Eggman again, and
Yeah,
how on second viewing actually kind of sucks.
yeah, it's not great. I hated the part
Yeah.
where Bowser won because it's wrong.
Yeah. That part in the beginning of the video where I said that just like Among Us. See, it all wraps up. It all wraps back around in the end.
It's like poetry. It
Um,
rhymes.
yeah. Um, this is the outro part of the video where we say something and then we leave.
Yeah, and to be clear, what it rhymes with is ass light. Bye.